Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Pokemon Crystal, where we are playing Ecruteak City. This is turn 15. Let's jump into things. Alright, so we've got some stuff going on. There's more on the screen than it actually is really happening, truth be told. But we have completed Conjuration 2 on our way to Enchantment 2. We found a magic site in Fast, a geyser. This is actually pretty nice. This is a Fire 1, Water 1. Found nothing in Furia. We had a battle in Mountains of Madness. Let's go and watch this. So this is just a little raiding party up against actually a fair little chunk of what looks to be like province defense. But it's all Machops and a single Hitmonchan. Not really something that we have to worry about too terribly much. So we run forward. And we start sleeping and killing and killing and sleeping and sleeping and killing and killing and sleeping. Nice. And we lost one Haunter, which is kind of unfortunate. But overall, not too bad. We have taken control of the province Keban, where there was no resistance. We had an unexpected event in Furia. We had the assassination. Okay, so not so unexpected event. We site searched in 2 locations. We're going to get assassinated in 2 locations. I still am not a huge fan of this event, right? I think, and granted, in fairness, on this version of the mod, I've only done limited testing. But from what I've seen, having to have a high enough Path Mage is one annoyance, right? It comes with an assassination every time, which normally is fine, but sometimes, you know, it's gonna be an annoyance, right? If you get them, right, if you do the event chain, you don't get enough shinies for it to really matter. And then if you do that, you're gonna get invaded turns later, which is a pain in the ass. It's just not, it's just not an event that I like. I am sure, right, that with careful management and someone who like really thinks about it and puts a plan together, a nation could do some pretty nasty stuff where they're constantly spawning these shinies and rotating things in and out, etc. But I can't, the amount of micromanagement that would have to go into it and your potential return on investment versus your risk seems a little out of whack to me. And also trying to do that type of shit with a nation like Ecruteak City where I have to deal with madness is like, oh, that's bonkers. Do that. Absolutely not. Okay, so we are lucky we do not lose either of our mages in the assassination attempts. We also have another event in Furia. We get a handful of gems found in a small stream. +1 water gem. Nice. Construction of the fortified village in Anvast is completed. We got 9 Ghastlies promoted in the Mountains of Madness, and your dad, the god of Goldenrod City, has been permanently banned. That is actually... that is basically 2 people out of the running immediately, right? Goldenrod City has been completely vanquished. Vermilion City's AI, so they're still in the game, but they're very small. And yeah. Azalea City is huge. Mahogany is pretty big. Olivine's pretty big. Viridian's, I think, about our size. We are doing okay. Cyanwood we are at war with, and yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're doing great, but who knows? They probably got an ace up their sleeve, so we'll see how it goes. And then I have absolutely zero idea where Pewter City is. I haven't seen them at all. So my assumption is they are tiny. So this game is going pretty quick. So what are we doing this turn? We're doing a couple of things. So the Snorlax ended up going for the Throne province. Okay. I mean, it's fine. It's not like it costs him anything. The Snorlax is very, very tanky and can basically just survive a lot of different things. So that's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure why go for that province, though it does, like, I guess, widen the front if he takes Dunes of Death, so that we have, like, more portions to kind of fight over. Who knows? It's also possible that he has enough movement, right? That guy is pretty beefy to just still make it to Dumna. But who knows? What are we doing this turn? We are moving Kimono 6's forces and Kimono 4's forces into 24. So his counter rating has been pretty low. So we're going to take this opportunity to hit in CERN, which is a farmland, and see about hopefully taking that income away from him. Right? We've also kind of cut off these two provinces, which is nice. He is producing assassins over here in Swampville Solitude, so we have to worry about that. Although, just as a scenario, right, his assassins are these guys. They have -5 assassin. And all they have, they just come with Hitmonchan, right? And they're not especially, I mean, they're pretty decent stats, but they're not especially great themselves. So, while we should respect them, I'm not super afraid of them. Like, if they catch a Kimono girl and they have 0 gear on them, I honestly don't know that they win straight out the gate, right? They can win, but I don't know that it's guaranteed, right? So, who knows, right? So we're gonna hit CERN and see how that goes. This might go very poorly. If he happens to reinforce this turn from Cyanwood City or something like that, we could actually lose both of these armies. That would be annoying, but again, I don't think it would be the end of the world. Okay. What is more end of the worldy, right, is he's got this stack of 100 enemy units here in Larian Swamps. We are moving into Dumna. If he hits us in Dumna with his god, with the stack, with maybe province defense, because there are Yanmas here, right? If he hits us in Dumna while we're moving in here, this could be bad news bears for us. What we are looking for, what we're hoping, right, is he moves this big old stack of white belts in. And there's not really any province defense because he's worried about his money, right? He's spending his money on recruitment and Cyanwood, and he doesn't want to spend his money on province defense. That's what we're hoping to eke out from something like Kevin, right? If that's what happens, if he just hits us here or moves into Dumna with the anticipation of attacking us, we have 80 units, 54 units, and 43 units all moving into Dumna. You have close to 200 units coming into Dumna, and it matching pound for pound against his ruby white belts. We slaughter. We will obliterate the shit out of them. Now, of course, there's the complication of like Hitmonlees if they're on hold and attack rear, right? That's why I do have all of my stuff on hold and attack closest. We are going to have a situation where we are going to have potentially multiple Kimono girls back there, so that is a concern. However, if his army comes into Dumna, I think we slaughter him. The only aside being is that if he pumps the province defense here, that could cause some complications, because if he gets 20-30 province defense into Dumna, that could get a lot of Yanmas in there, and enough Yanmas behind a wall of white belts is going to cause havoc. I don't know that it actually still wins, but it would kill way, way, way more units, and we don't want that. Also, his god being able to reach from Ba'an Kish into Dumna also is potentially going to cause that issue. Again, though, if he's out of his dominion, he's in my dominion, and we have forces that are attacking him, trying to get into melee with him rather than kill each other, which, who knows, right? It might go well for us. Might not, but we'll see. Okay, so the hope is he moves his army into Dumna, we obliterate it, yay. Ooh, fantastic. Okay. What else are we doing? We are continuing to move Blue Chan 1 around for site searching. We are building a temple with Red Chan 1 over in Anvast. We are continuing to... Oh, we're not continuing to recruit some schoolgirls, so that's a mistake. But that's okay. We are researching, trying to push further into enchantment, okay? And we are making another Dusk Dagger. So here's one of the potential issues with Dusk Dagger, and it's kind of the same thing that we have with our Lick Poison, right? Is that Dusk Dagger does draw blood, and it does special blood damage, right? It bleeds. But this can be negated by large beings, right? And what I believe this is that they can basically like staunch the bleeding, right? They basically, like, big boys can stop bleeding, right? Like size 6 units can stop bleeding, I think is the general concept. So the idea there is get 2 Dusk Daggers and just stab the shit out of him repeatedly, because 1, that's going to give us 2 very high damage attacks, and 2, that's going to potentially keep bleed on him more frequently. We'll see how it goes. So. We are moving units around in basic formations to continue to pick up units, right? So we're moving Kimono 3 with 56 units into Gol Amrod. We're moving Kimono 11 with 13 units into Ecruteak City. We're basically just moving units around in these pickup patterns to try to make sure that we get enough units constantly moving towards the front. Right? Our income is a little limited. We are trying to save up. Potentially, we are trying to save up for... We're moving Kimono 7 over into Second Forest. We might build a fortification right here in Second Forest. We do now have a non-aggression pact with Azalea City, right? So I feel a little bit better about that type of situation. Azalea City in the long run is going to crucify us. Just because they're like a very perfect counter to us as a nation. They're going to obliterate us eventually. But until then, you know, until then, we will try to keep a non-aggression pact with them. I think we might actually kind of try to support them and try to do like the piggyback victory type scenario, right? Where we let them be the big boys and let them probably take the victory, and we support them as best as we can while continuing to grow stronger and stronger ourselves. And then at the end of the game, whoever is left, right, we try to make a desperation play either with, right, to break Azalea, or we make a desperation play against, right, to try to take, like, you know, a throne rush or etc. We are actually kind of interestingly located to do something like a throne rush. It's kind of insane. So you need 10 ascension points, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thrones of ascension right the fuck here. Like, there are 7 thrones. There are so many thrones all right here on this, like, single screen. And we don't even need that many of them. Like, there's 1 throne over here. No thrones in this big area. No thrones in the ocean over here, right? There's 1 throne here. No thrones all over here. No thrones all over here. No thrones in any of this area. Like, it's kind of crazy how compacted the thrones are in this location. Kind of directly on top us, Cyanwood City, and Azalea City. Kind of really interesting. So we are uniquely positioned for that later on. Obviously, that concept is held on the scenario of us actually surviving to beat Cyanwood City, which is still not a foregone conclusion. But I will say this. So, Cyanwood City has had some weird placement in order to try to expand. And they said that they had some, aside from their god, right? They said that their god expands just fine, but they've said they've had some weird indies that they've had to deal with as far as, like, their other armies. So they didn't expand, like, crazy rapidly. And now that I'm raiding the shit out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 provinces right now, right? That hurts. That really stifles your income to have to deal with that type of stuff, right? And some of these provinces aren't great income to begin with. You know, hey, 12, and to keep them in mind, right? He's got these 4 provinces, right? Well, they're cut off from his capital. He's not. They're low-income provinces to begin with, and he's still not even, like, drawing much income from them because they're cut off from the capital. So he's got these 2 provinces and these 2 provinces that he's really, like, getting work done on. And maybe 12, I don't know. I can't see over there yet, so I don't know if he's expanded this way. But, who knows, right? I do not think that Cyan would... We might not... I think we are gonna survive longer than Cyanwood City is, I believe. But I don't think... like... Whether they fight back or not, I think they're not going to be long for this game. So it's turn 15. My supposition is that, like, they're out of this by turn. I'm not going to say. Because as soon as I say something, this is going to turn into this crazy, protracted war, and Viridian comes in on me, and Azalea City breaks their nap and comes in on me, and then it all is looking lost, and Olivine City moves into Vulture, Cyanwood. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a crazy nightmare. But that being said, I think that's pretty much it for the turn. We're doing basic stuff with our research, right? We do have Thaumaturgy 2, which does let us do shiny crystal ghastlies, right? But I think right now, dedicating a Death 2 Mage, which is basically going to be one of our J-Boys, takes too much, right? So, I want to kind of ramp my my research now. And this is one of the ways that I'm kind of thinking of doing it, right? So one of the issues that we're having is that labs are they're 500 gold, right? That's crazy expensive for us. But I do have 2 free labs here in Haunted Woods and 1 here in Second Forest. So I'm thinking maybe I just build on those locations rather than some of the other locations that I have. Other people are probably already screaming at me. You know, it's 15 turns of me, like, building in random places. Like, Golamrod is good, but should I have built in West? Should I have built in Anvast? I definitely already had this. But here's the situation, right? I'm trying to make sure that my core is safe, and when I started building this, when I started building in Wesh, we didn't really know what was down here, right? When I started building in Anvast, I knew how big Azalea City was, but I still didn't know. I didn't have enough aggression pack with them, right? So I think our prior choices are still fine. I think we're gonna over the next couple turns get stuff started in Second Forest and Haunted Woods. But it's, I mean, we're playing that weird nation that wants money and loses money, so we'll see. I don't know that it's going to work out in the long run, truth be told. I think we're always going to be behind research-wise. Yeah. Unless we start getting super lucky with veteran trainers, with our national heroes, just getting spawns of those. I mean, there's no way for us to keep up forever. But we'll see how this war with Cyanwood City goes. We'll go from there. Thanks, everybody. Bye. I'll see you next time.